So am I. So you
Okay.
want me to hit just got it? Oh, that's just on
Yes.
my.
Yeah. Hit got it. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There we
So you want me to
are.
hit just got it?
Hit got
Oh,
it.
that's
Yeah.
just on my.
Yeah. Hit got it. Mm-hmm.
We're good.
We're good. And you're there. I can see you. You can see me.
Uh-huh.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm introducing my wonderful classmate from DuSable. Oh my God. How many years has it been, Luther?
Well, it seems like it was yesterday when I'm with some of my classmates, but it was we graduated in '76. We did all our damage for the first, all 4 years actually. But
We
yeah, it's
did.
been a long time.
It's been a long time, and I want to welcome you to Patiently Waiting for Nothing. I have been doing this podcast now. This is podcast number 18. So it really is a great. I just love the fact that I said, "Can you be on my show?" And you were like, "Yes," and that all streamed from a conversation with my son because I was talking about the event that happened with us when we were in high school. But before we go with that, I want to catch up with you. So I want to find out what you've been doing. I want you to introduce yourself to the people. Let us get to know you. Let us get to know who you are. Because I want everybody, when we tell our story, I want people to know who they're listening to. So tell us about what you've been up to since high school. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, since high school, been doing a lot. Been I'm in the software industry, software engineering. So
Oh,
that's what I've been doing from a career standpoint. I used to run into you downtown all the time too, but
and wave.
since some of the time I have to travel, I haven't. High school
Okay.
was a big deal for us because, well, we just had us. We were there when we didn't have to be there a lot of times. I often think of activity night.
Yep.
Besides, before we even get to that famous day, by the way, today is another famous day because we have our first black female justice
Oh,
this
yes, I
on the
did
day.
see
So
that. Yes.
yeah, so
Mhm.
that's some big history. But
Yeah.
since then, I have a daughter. She's 30. She'll be 30,
Okay.
and she works in the Dominican Republic, teaching English. So she teaches a couple
Wow.
of languages. Uh, After I dot a couple of I's and cross a couple of T's, I'll be single again. My brothers and sisters, who most of them went to do Salvo too,
Yep.
Cheryl and the twins, they're doing fine. I see
Wow.
them all the time especially when I'm in town. So
Yeah.
been pretty a pretty basic life. I think the last time, well, I probably ran into you at one of the DuSable picnics, and definitely I tried to find the picture we took, and I know it's somewhere, the picture we took for our 20th year reunion,
Oh,
because
wow.
we sat next to each other, me, you, and a few other people that
Mm.
were really heavy. I don't know if you remember that picture at Washington Park.
I do remember. I do remember because I think we all had to sit on the bleachers. Is that the one?
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
it. That's it.
Mhm.
If you don't have it, I'll send it to you as soon as I
Please do.
find
I
it.
do not have that one. Mm-mm.
But other than that, right now, this is an experience being on the podcast because it's something similar that I'm looking into because I'm gonna get what I do is do a lot of training with regards to software engineering.
Okay.
Uh, Still work downtown, but my training will be done on a YouTube channel and a podcast, and that should be launching about June. The channel will be launching in a couple of months, but
Hmm.
the training for basic essential software process and methodologies that will be up in the next 2 months. But so
That's
that's what I've been doing on my spare time. So even though I'm approaching retirement age, I'll probably always be doing something similar to what I'm doing now because I love it so much. But in general, Rita, it's been a pretty good ride.
Pretty
Like I
good
said,
vibe.
we're together all the time. When we're together, you and a few of our classmates, maybe some of them on the line, it seems like we go back to being 18 again. So we laugh, we joke, we have a good time. And then some of us even still look the same, like you.
Well,
You look
thank you.
exactly the same. So, so that's great. But
Yes,
it's been pretty good. I'm gonna dive into how we really got to be close.
yes.
And
Go ahead.
you touched on it.
Mhm.
In high school, I played football. Rita was you were doing some of everything: cheerleading, dancing, everything.
Everything.
Um, and I got hurt and I got injured so bad it was actually the third clavicle or a broken neck. And at one time, a lot of people thought I would be paralyzed. It so happens when I got in the hospital, the next day, they had told me, you had broke your leg. And when they talked about it like it was really bad. It was
It was
really
my
bad.
hip, thigh, and knee. I mean, I had people
Yeah.
tell me that they thought I died.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we thought you. Well, people thought because you know how it is. We know so many people, and so many people have stories that
Yeah,
we thought it was really, really something where you was in jeopardy, life
yeah,
or leg,
yeah.
and for all of that to happen in the one day. And so that's when, as a matter of fact, I remember. I don't know how you got the phone number. We exchanged phone numbers when we talked while we were in the hospital
When we
at
were
the
in the
same
hospital.
time.
Now, what hospital were you in?
I was in at the University of Chicago. I
Isn't
forgot what
that
it's called,
something?
but
And I was
yeah.
actually at Roseland. Now, that's probably the difference in our social economics back then.
No, 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 it was just location. I probably should have been at Roseland because it was closer to Gately Stadium,
Well,
where I
that's why
got
I
hurt.
was at Roseland because I literally, and I don't know if you know this, Luther, is when you were running the ball, you had the ball and you were running, right?
Right. Yeah.
I went on the top bleacher and I was running with you. I was like, go Luther, go Luther, go, and I'm running right, and the
Yeah.
bleacher breaks.
Wow.
That's when they had the wood bleachers.
Yeah, that's right. That's
They
right.
had the wood bleachers, and unfortunately, my family, growing up in the family that I grew up in, somebody told them that I got hurt running from the police. They could have sued Gately Stadium. Am I right? My family could have been set
it could have
for
been,
life.
yeah.
They could have been set because after that, they put in the steel beams. Remember?
Hmm.
We go back, they
Yeah.
put the steel things in.
Safer, yeah.
Much
They
safer.
did a lot of upgrades.
A lot of
Uh,
upgrades, yeah. But
yeah.
it was
So
so interesting because two ambulances came that night.
wow.
Two ambulances, one picked you up and one picked me up.
Well, actually, because I got up and ran off the field, the one that was going to take me thought, the guy gave me a quick exam, said, "Oh, he's all right,"
No, they
but I
did
felt
not.
terrible.
No,
No,
they did.
he didn't. So I got to the locker room. I still was feeling terrible, and then I told the coach. One of the coaches said, "Hey, I think we should take him to the doctor." So we stopped by and picked up my mother. We went to the doctor, and while I was getting X-rays, the person who saw the X-rays actually ran out of the room. And then next thing you know, it was about 8 or 9 doctors around my bed.
And they had to hurry up
So
and put something on your neck, didn't they?
well, yeah, they didn't understand what was going on because based on the X-rays, I shouldn't have had. I should have had some slight paralysis, if not total paralysis.
Luther, that is really interesting. So you're telling me, where was your pain when that was happening? It was in your head or
Well, it was a nerve pain, which is a different type of pain. If anybody
yes,
had it, it's a different. It's aggravating.
yes.
So it was actually my neck was getting tight. It was swollen. It was swelling up. So it actually held everything in place. So even though my neck was broke and dislocated, it was no spinal cord damage, bruising not damage. So I was very fortunate in that. Then you and I spent in different places and locations in traction for a while.
Now, I think you got out before me, though. How long were you in traction?
I was in traction for about 4 weeks because I went in at the beginning of October and I came out a couple of days after my birthday, which was October 29th.
Right.
And actually, when I got the word you were in there, like I said, it was the next day. I think Bucky and my sister told me. It was like they used their own words to say how bad shape you and I.
But you had no idea I was trying to help you run that ball.
Well, I actually scored a touchdown and I got hurt in the end zone. So
and got hurt in the end zone. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And I was trying to see, I said, what was going on in the universe that would interrupt both of us in 1975? So when you got hurt, were you how old were you? 17 or 18 when you got hurt?
I was 17, but I made my 18th birthday while
in the hospital. Getting it. Yeah. And so I was 17 too, right? So that was our 17th year. And I ended up staying in the hospital until the end of December.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had ligament damage, broke. When I heard it, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it was very interesting because when the doctor told me that I might not have good use of my leg, I was just like, I couldn't imagine that, I could damage myself in such a way, right? Yeah. That would happen. And I began to will myself to die.
Oh, wow. We knew it was that, but no, like I said, when we saw you again, you were your same old self.
I think, was it at the prom? Because I couldn't come back to school. I didn't come back to school until we were close to graduating.
Yeah, we saw you, but like I said, some of the conversations we had, it was very uplifting because I was super depressed.
Oh yeah, on our phone calls, I think we really motivated each other to stay healing. Like
that was you. I was crying all the time. You were much stronger. I'll give you credit for that, and I'm going to bet everybody who knows you're pretty strong. But anyway, it was a tough time. Then our senior year, and we had a ball throughout our school year at school. So to be our senior year, the year we really was supposed to really act the fool.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't even imagine.
Most of it in
the hospital, and then I couldn't come back to school because you couldn't come to school. It was against the law for you to have crutches. And so even after I came out of that body cast, because when they let me out of the hospital, I had to have on a body cast. Then after the body cast, I had crutches. So I had to, and I really thank the teachers, Mr. Baker, Miss Leggett.
Oh, yeah.
They set it up, Miss Idris Adams. They set it up so that I had tutors. Did you have tutors when you were in the hospital?
Well, what I did, because I got out, they actually said, okay, we'll wait till you get out. And then they gave me some stuff to catch up with, gave me a break. But no, I didn't get the tutors. Again, I came a little bit back before you, and it was time for us to graduate. So they didn't want to hold us back. That wasn't technically it wasn't our fault, but we
were going to school for all year round, Luther, remember? 45 days on and 15 days off. In order for me to catch up, I would actually come to school on the 15 days.
Yeah, that's what I had to do a couple of times. But no, I didn't have any tutors. I was fine. I got to work. I got to school with the cast on, and they finally told me, hey, you're gonna have to do some work.
Yeah, right. You can't just sit around here.
Since then, yeah. So got out, graduated, graduating from DuSable, not, higher learning, right? So then I went to Harold Washington Junior College. At that time, it was Loop Junior College.
Okay.
Then went to DePaul and Roosevelt. Then been in the industry, actuary or software engineering, some form of fashion.
So did you go back to your athletic self in any way?
Not really. What I did was coach, and I coached the kids in the basics. So it was little kids, 12, 13, 14. I coached them in the basics of mostly all sports, football and baseball mainly. When I moved to the neighborhood, we had moved out of the project. So the neighborhood I'm in now, all these guys are grown men now. I actually moved back here. All of them are grown men, but I coached them for a while. And I did that because I was still really depressed. So if anybody's going through something, sometimes a talent, especially when they can't use a talent, they might be able to, I found out they might be able to show somebody else and you get just as much joy out of it. My mother said, well, you can't play anymore, or you don't want to play anymore because of my injury.
Yeah.
So she said, why don't you coach? I thought, that's crazy. But when I did, I felt the same way I felt when I was playing.
Yeah.
So, and then some of the schools are pretty good that were interested. They after junior college, they invited me to some of the camps and see if I was still interested. But no, I was more interested from a coaching standpoint, but I still was interested in, like I said, my major was mathematics, so I was still interested in software engineering and actuarial work, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I know it was so interesting because I actually ended up going into technology in college, where actually I studied. Part of my making up my credits was to go to, remember Dawson Skill Institute?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I took night classes there to catch up as well. And that's when the computers, remember how you had to do the cards?
Right,
the code,
right.
I'm really dating myself.
Yeah,
I know,
right.
but that's how I learned computers, right? We had to learn how to do the punch cards. Mm-hmm. And so when I got to college, I still had some interest in computers, but I could not, I couldn't major in it because I couldn't get past, you had to have a C or better. I kept getting C- and D's. So I could not.
Well, I mean, Rita, if I was to guess, I would say you will be in a business similar to what you're doing now. You were a people person in school. I was very shy. You were a people person. Also,
tell me that because, man, I sometimes feel like the shyest person on the planet. I'm more of an introvert than anything, Oh, sorry about that. Tell them we're recording.
No, I had somebody at the door. I'm sorry. I had to get him because he's doing some work for me around my house. So I'm sorry about that.
No problem. That's okay. But, it's so interesting that you say that because, I used to run with Vanessa Berry. Remember Vanessa?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Vanessa seemed to be more extroverted than me. And I started to realize, I said, that's really interesting because I am such an introvert and such a recluse that I can just spend all my time by myself and be.
Well, I believe that, but you definitely had, how, and everybody who's went to high school always have what is called the in crowd in high school, or just that person who's or persons that pretty much knows everybody and everybody knows them. Mm-hmm. They don't have a particular clique, and you were pretty independent in that fashion. But I saw that in you, the social skills. I became a bookworm, but at that time I wasn't doing nothing but playing football and
it was just I was doing everything. Huh? I was.
You were doing everything. I mean, just imagine. Just remember what you said. How you got hurt. You were in the bleachers running around.
Oh my good. And so when I was telling my youngest, who was I telling? My youngest son that story. I was telling one of my kids that story. My oldest son, because my oldest son played football, and I was telling him that story. And he said, well, why were you doing that? I looked at him, and we're on the Zoom. I said, now you know how I am at a football game. He said, oh, yeah, I do. Because even when he was playing football, I was like, I had all the mothers cheering.
They know. They know. But it was a good time. But that experience that we had at the same time, it was the height of our actual high school career. We were seniors, even though we had fun. Like I said, remember activity night. I don't think any other school did what we did or done it since, where you can skate in the hallways. You want to be Friday night, skate in the hallways, dance. Like it was soul training there when we danced, play ball, play pool, swim. So that was an amazing thing. I don't think if other high schools do that, then that would be something else, because it definitely was a morale booster for us in school.
That's the truth, because the reason that I was able to recover with my leg was because Miss Orange allowed me to come in and swim.
Yeah, see,
that was my therapy, being able to swim. That's what had me, be able to walk again. Yeah.
And not only that, because of that activity night, those teachers had to stay around on the Friday nights to chaperone us. So
that's right.
The morale and the spirit was up there. I still, when I look back on those days, one day I'm gonna write it, because I really like writing. One day I'm gonna write about that experience, because we came in. We were one of the largest classes to come into school as freshmen. I remember a couple of people talking about that. Remember, the classes were overcrowded anyway, but we were one of the
remember that. That's why they went to the all year round method. Yes,
exactly. They wanted to. They say, "Hey, look, we got to do all this. Got to keep these kids in here, but they all can't be here at the same time because there's so many." So in our sophomore year, I think I don't know if you remember this. A lot of us just took over a lot of the school. The juniors and seniors wasn't as intimidating.
When I was leading the walkouts and everything.
Right. So we dominated, and then we had a good time all the time.
Yes.
Like I said, the parties and the football games where the buses were lined up across.
Oh my goodness! Come on.
Basketball, had some basketball. We still got one of the DuSable alumni. He's right here in Chicago coaching the Bulls now, after his career, Mo Cheeks. So we were all in that thing at the same time.
You remember me and Mo Cheeks' brother, Mark. Mark and I were really good friends. Remember me, Mark, and Dwayne used to hang out all the time. Remember
I
Dwayne?
remember, yeah. I definitely remember you and Dwayne.
Yeah, we went to the prom together.
I know that. I see them every now and then. We were together, me and Mark, not too long ago, Denise and a few other people. So I run into them on occasion. We'll hang out. But I see just about everybody every now and then. But usually it's not until the picnic. But it'd be interesting if you can get some of them guys on your podcast. They have stories.
And see what they're talking about. But you just said something that sparked an interest in me. I've written and published a few books, and I think it would be fun if we wrote a book together about the DuSable
about that experience.
Yes.
About that experience. It'd be nice.
Yeah, because one of the things that really struck me when I was in college was that in one of the sociology books, I don't even remember what class it was, but one of the sociology books described the neighborhood that we came from as one of the poorest communities in the country.
Yeah.
And it was, now, I don't know why it was that I did not think I was poor. I did not grow up with that kind. I knew I didn't have what other people had, but it wasn't like a comparison. I still did everything.
We didn't care. We were decent. We had the big afros. We had the look.
We went and I walked everywhere. Any place I wanted to go, I could walk. Or I knew how to jump the train.
Yeah, or somebody had a little beat up car. We did that too. So
right, so I thought that most of the time they don't spend a lot of time talking about people that came from that environment that really continue to be good people, decent people, making a difference in the world. You know,
Yeah.
people act like you have to be all these elite, highfalutin. You got to go to a HBCU. You have to be in a fraternity. No, you know, real people.
Yeah, it was funny you mentioned some of that stuff because when a lot of our classmates went away to school, they started a lot of their own clubs and own thing. They say, hey, we can do our own thing. We do our own networking. I mean, GHO as an example when they went down to school. So it was a lot of organizations and a lot of influence that we had. So I think our social economical issues based on reputation. When people got to know us, they said, "Well, you guys ain't really like that because we from there." But we just had a good time, so we really didn't think about that. We had something to eat. I think at that time we still, they had breakfast and lunch for us.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. I remember, I don't know if you know this, but I remember, I wish could remember her name. The lunch lady came to me, and this was in my freshman year. And she came, might have been I think it was my freshman year. She came to me and she said, Rita, somebody told me that if we wanted to get free lunch in this school, you could get it done. I said, I can get it done. What do I need to do? And she said, well, you need to have so many hundred, 1,000 or whatever petition signatures. I said, oh, I can do that. Just get people to sign the, so I went around having everybody sign this petition so that we can have free lunch. Now, I didn't think nothing of it, right? I'm just thinking, oh, well, shoot, if all we have to do is sign a signature.
I'm telling you, your social skills were more natural than anything. You looked at people and they looked at you like, don't you know?
No,
like,
I didn't know. I just do what I do. Even when I got to college, I was on the Associated Students of Westmont College. I was a senator. I was a RA. I was president of the Black Students. And again, those were natural. It wasn't aspirations. It wasn't like I was aspiring to do those things.
It's funny you mentioned some of those things. One of the things that I've done, and like I said, a few people probably been involved in some political activity in Chicago that are around, checking this out. I managed a campaign where we got into, for alderman, where we got into a runoff. The guy got into a runoff and we lost, but quite a few people that went to DuSable helped me out with that, and we got them there with little or no money. Then we got some people from City Hall to come help us out a lot. And they put $50,000 in. It was amazing. So what I'm trying to say, Rita, it's not too late. If you're thinking about it.
No, I'm not getting into politics. I've had too many in the politics.
It's not. Hey, look, you got to volunteer here. It'd be nice to work together. We work together on the reunion. We work together on some things.
We can work together on writing a book. Let's work together on that.
I'm holding to that, but all right now.
It's so interesting because I don't know if you know this, but I have my own online school called the Master Force International Leadership Academy.
I do not.
And
I didn't know.
Yeah, for the past 12 years, I have been certifying life coaches. So about 35 years ago, I created this curriculum, and I created the curriculum to actually work with my son, who was 10 at the time. I wanted to work with him and his friends to help develop their spiritual acumen, because I did not, it was something about, we were going to church, and at church, they kept trying to get him to accept Jesus Christ as his savior. And I hope I'm not offending you in any way, but I did not want that to be the way that he had to go. Like, I had got to the point where I cannot handle that we keep putting this white man as a savior. Then Santa Claus is a white man as a savior. Then all these, it's like, I'm not doing that, But then I also knew that he had to have spiritual grounding.
That's true.
So I developed this curriculum and started teaching him and his friends around the neighborhood, and then got all the parents involved. And that became what we call Master Force.
Mm-hmm.
And so that whole curriculum is what I've been doing for the last 35 years. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's something we can touch on in a lot of, if we get together. Now, I'm going to hold you to get together if we start writing stories, because a lot of things that we grew up with was grounded in certain views and opinions we had when it came to religion.
Yep.
And those things, I think it's, this is just my opinion. I think in most cases, we use a lot of terms like, say, a blessing. What is that? When I ask the person that who's going to, some people can't understand that. So we use a lot of terms and say things out of context, especially if you read the Bible. Whether you believe it or not, whether you believe the images that are put in front of us, which, by the way, society is going away from those images as far as how Jesus looks, the Last Supper, and all that.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
More people with better education, even if they believe or not believe, the concepts in place are pretty good. Some of them are still degrading to women, but the concepts are in general saying, hey, be a good person, be moral. So you can take something away from it. But I think the understanding is still blurred because there's profit to be made by expressing what people want to hear and what they want to see, that are based on what actually is, which is better. But that I'll touch on at another time.
I actually saw that we're probably going to have to talk more than one time, because it's so many pieces inside of even the event that happened with us. And after I ended up being in that hospital for that length of time, now I actually see that as a spiritual initiation. I see that as part of what the universe used to grow me into the person that I needed to be in order for me to fulfill on my mission, right? And there was a point in time, like I was saying, when I was willing myself to die. And Mr. Baker, you remember Mr. Baker?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Baker never was my teacher. I think he taught history, but I never had him as a teacher. But he came to the hospital and he had 7 Black magazines in a book. And the name of that book is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And he gave me that book in the magazines and he said, I know this may be deep for you, but if you read this book, I believe it will make a difference. Now, you don't dare a 17-year-old.
Right. So, especially you.
Especially me, Luther, because everybody left that Friday night. Man, I looked at the table of contents and I only read 3 chapters on healing. It was about 21 chapters, 22 chapters in that book, but I read the 3 chapters on healing. And when I tell you, I started applying what I read and was able to get the doctor to work with me 3 days later to get me in that body cast so I could be home for Christmas. Man, later on, I was like, why aren't they teaching this in school? Why aren't they teaching us that we can program our minds to our minds to heal our bodies? That's what got me out of that bed.
See, that's what it's all about. It's about this is not difficult. It's just that we've been taught to believe and act in a certain way, and we come to conclusions about ourselves based on what we have, who we know. These are things that they won't last. They just don't. And so as African American people, like I said, this is a day to celebrate because we got a Supreme Court justice. With this system the way it is now, we need as much as we can. And we've seen the evolution of the Black woman in the United States. it has become like, okay, is Wonder Woman really that image we see there? Because she ain't doing what all these women doing. All these sisters doing. They're the one leading in graduating and from college with honors, getting math, getting doctorates, leading leading us in politics. But that evolution came about due to circumstances, right? A lot of African American men in jail, a lot of them not. Blah,
and
blah,
that's
blah.
by design too. All of that by design. Come on.
Yeah. Well. What I'm saying is that when you grow up and you have an image of what things are based on what we've told. You get married, you have kids, you go to work every day, and you retire. You buy your house, and that's fine, and that's cool. That's cool. You try to stay out of trouble.
Yes.
But when you have it where it's constantly wearing you down. Now, I'm speaking from an African American man standpoint. When it's constantly wearing you down, it can make you believe that you can't do certain things.
That's right.
You can do a lot of things, but if your scorecard is how much money you have or what you have, you got a problem. Yeah. That might be a problem, because you can see there can be headaches and problems with that too. But they've used that as a scorecard, and African American men, and they might hate me or love me for this, but we're competitive.
Yeah, we compete. Naturally.
That's why you see when we get into a sport, we hitting, we in football, we was knocking the hell out of each other.
Yes.
Because we wanted to win.
Yeah.
In life in general, you got to take, the rules are different. We on the same team. We say it sometimes in our groups, we believe it and we feel it, but we really don't practice that on a regular basis. Ever since, and this is written in stuff I've read too and experienced, ever since we've had a really deep, we really glorified the gangster community, we at the same time de-glorify civil rights. And we're starting to lose them, right? They want to take away voting rights. We don't know how serious that is.
Yeah.
That's real serious. But they're starting to take away. But the persons they coming out, almost coming after, hey, black man, these women too strong for us, but we can get you. So the racial angle is one thing, but that's our problem. Not the other people. That's our problem, because we see people from other cultures and other countries and other races come in and they do their thing.
Yeah.
But I can go on and go on all day, but I'm not. But I can tell you, Rita, our experience growing up, we can touch on all those things. That's why I say I love writing. Like I said, you wrote a book. Everybody around you wrote a book. I'm writing scripts and podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm ready. I'm actually writing scripts. I'm ready to go to the movie side. So, I'm doing that.
I saw that in you a long time ago. I'm like, this person's social, but how did she talk to people? Like I said, I was real shy. But everybody just was drawn to you, and you're like, what's the big deal?
I really, it's so interesting because the things that I've had to go through to get to myself has been very interesting. And I'm just now, can you believe that, Luther? I'm just now starting to appreciate who I had to be growing up through all that, because I'm looking now like, shit, I need a vacation for the rest of my life.
but you got a lot to say. So just to say, when you just getting to it, most people become like they did a thing about billionaires and millionaires the other day. It's rare. Most people become millionaires when they get in their late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, 60 and 80 is the highest productivity time. Yeah.
That's when they do. But you find what you have. You done raised the kids, you done dealt with everything. and nothing can get on your nerves no more, right?
Not like that, right? That's exactly.
Your grandkids get on your nerves. You like, mom and daddy, come get them.
No, well, and that I don't. My grandkids, most of them are in Detroit, so I don't even get to. Literally, I have so much preciousness in my life that I really get time to focus on myself and my projects.
Do that right now. I mean,
Yeah.
you should do that. You realize something. They're gonna be all right. Everybody's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have, by the way, Rita?
I actually have, Luther, I have 3 children. I have a 43-year-old son. I have a 37-year-old daughter, and I have a 26-year-old son.
Right. Wow.
Yes. So I was actually a widow at 25. So my husband was actually stabbed by a guy over a chess game. He was stabbed he won the chess game. And when I got that call in the middle of the night, it was very,
I did not know that.
And that was just,
so when
that was
came to the 20th year reunion, it was just you, right? You and
it was just me. Was it just me? Because I think I had remarried
at the 10th year
at the 20 year. At the 20 year, because I got married again at 30. Yeah, I was married again because I got married again at 35. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
we got to put pen to paper. We got stories to tell.
I had stories to tell. But you know what? I use that a lot inside of the coaching that I do and inside of my mentoring circles, because what I realize is most people, they have a theory about how to get from point A to B. I really have the experience of it. So I know what the breakdown is as compared to people who've just read it in a book.
Rita, one of the things I think a lot of things are natural to you, just like in high school. So when I see you, I still see that same person. You have the matter of fact that, hey, it's not a big deal. but so some of those things that you've learned, you might have to step people through it. At least your demeanor to me says you're the same. You're like, I'm gonna deal with this. I'm still shocked that you were as depressed as you was when you got hurt, because like I said, you lifted me up. You lifted me up I'm the one who the cried. We were 17, we were babies, we were kids, but you lifted me up. And I didn't know that you was in that place.
Man, but that was probably
your demeanor or your attitude.
No, Luther, you got to remember, if you were in there and you got out 4 weeks later, I was still in there.
I believe you, but I'm just saying, I didn't see it.
Man.
Do you have a best friend or a confidant to say, hey, man, let me tell you what she was going through?
No. Listen,
see, I didn't tell anybody.
Well,
Hey, they saw me crying. Hey, I ain't got no shame in my game. I was upset.
Roommate, her name was Rita also, but she was a older, just a little bit older, but she was in a car accident, and her daughter, she had a daughter, so her and her husband and her daughter, the daughter went through the wrench. This woman cried all the time, Luther. Do you hear me?
Hey, I ain't no problem with that.
I'm ready to kill them when you get her out of my...
See, Rita, this is who you are. So you tripped on that. I'm like, okay. That's funny. That when you so emotionally you handle things a certain way. You present yourself a certain way. You definitely presented yourself a certain way. And I don't know if your kids see that or they're like that, as somebody who was really strong at a young age. I didn't I thought that. So
Luther,
I'm
that's
sorry if I'm
probably
embarrassing you.
no.
I'm sorry,
I realize,
but
but Luther,
you
you know
were
what?
very strong and confident.
You probably did not know that my mother had been put in a mental institution when I was 5.
I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot of things you
You
telling me
didn't know.
today.
So can you imagine? And the reason I'm saying I was on a radio show earlier today because I was talking about the work that I've had to go through in the last year because I fell and I hurt my hip and I had to like regenerate because I'm a healer. I'm not going through the whole, I know how to heal now. So I had to take time to regenerate and I had to go back through my childhood, Luther, and release those traumas.
We gotta sit down because I can
Hey,
write it. You
okay.
just talk it.
Oh, now don't say that to my daughter because she's been trying to get me to write my memoirs. Every time she sit down with me, I'm like, girl, please, I'd be crying all day. I can't even.
Look, that's okay. I want to see
Now you see me
because
crying.
that obviously I want to see it. Well, I tell you this too, and that was the other question I had to ask you: is do you see a lot of yourself in any of your kids? It sounds like you have a daughter who's like
Oh,
that.
yeah. All 3 of my children are aspects of me. I tell people that I gave birth to my mother and my father with my older 2 because they really did give me a sense of myself and they grounded me so that I would stay here because I was suicidal. But of course, right? Not of course, but
I'm still that's still blowing me away. If
listen,
anybody around who would talk to me about you, anybody,
Dwayne
and you
Perkins.
wasn't in the room, and they would ask me about you, I would say this is one of the strongest Black women I've ever met. She's never waited. And even being depressed, I'm not saying you wasn't strong then. I'm just saying the front, how you came to everybody else because you were an uplifting figure in school. Like I say, anybody who sees this or listening to this, she was that woman who was very confident. Most people thought she could have been valedictorian if she wanted to.
Nah, well, I missed the whole senior year of high school though.
Well, it don't matter. It don't matter if you wanted to. We put you in that. You was in that honors category. I
Yeah, I
was.
was an honors. I was an honors student.
Oh
But
yeah, you were. You were.
yeah, I was
We
an honors
don't
student.
know.
But you know
I
what?
couldn't read.
I love learning though. I was like you. I really was mostly a bookworm. I still am. I read all the
Well,
time.
Rita, I became a bookworm when I finished. So my experience, and I don't know how long you got, but my real quick experience in 60 seconds, when I left DuSable, I went to Harold Washington College. They give you a test, an entrance exam in some of the places, because I couldn't get in. They said, you can't read. Now, remember, I can do math, but I couldn't read. What I was lazy. So they
Okay.
told me one thing, I was lazy. So
Mhm.
I read everything that came in front of me that summer. I read
Wow.
stuff that was assigned to people in the honors classes that summer. I read. You can
Wow.
ask anybody I knew or hung out with in college. They say he read. I'm reading 2-3 books at a time because I was
Yeah.
so offended. But I got back on track and was a bookworm for those next 5-6 years. Finished there, went to DePaul, went to Roosevelt, did my thing there. But one of the things I can tell you, it all depended on a lot of things. One, my self-esteem, one, my circumstances. Because
Mhm.
I was blurred by, fame and fortune, playing football, baseball, and one of those things. Me and Bucky at that time, Bucky was the best athlete
Yeah.
on that side of time, pound for pound. He was the best. Him and Larry Crouch to me. And
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of them. I've seen a bunch of them. Some of them, a guy who's passed away now, Kirby Puckett, was playing ball with us or against us. They
Mhm.
were up on that. They were, and he was a professional baseball player eventually.
Wow.
But
Mhm.
but just to say, it was some personalities when you look back on it. When I look back on it, and that's why I keep on giving you a hard time
Right.
because we thought, at least I did, and I bet you other people thought, hey, this is your niche. Your niche is people. Your niche is organizing. Your niche is controlling things. because you had the temperament. And then you're telling me all these stories about your parents. Look, let me write that biography. Let me do that. Let me do that, please. Because I have the outline down, and then if people who see this or want to, and they have chime in stories about you or anything else, I would love for them to contact me. But man, you got to talk, because when I used to see you downtown, I'm thinking, hey, mama, hey, you good? You doing good, girl? I looked at it as something basically we survived. I didn't look at it as
just to survive was the thing. And the fact that when I graduated from high school, no one in my family came. And I remember standing there with Dwayne and Mark Cheeks, and they were saying they were going downtown, and I've been crying the whole time. I was like, I'm going home.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
But wait, Miss Leggett had pulled me to the side, Luther, and she gave me a graduation gift. And she said, if we don't get you out of Chicago, you're gonna die. Do you know she's the one that found the college, paid for me to take the PSAT. Her mother brought me an airline ticket. Mr. What's his name? The security guard bought me luggage.
Right.
You hear me? That's how I got out of Chicago.
Rita, let me tell you something. That's why I talked about how we took over school at sophomore. The class of 76 was special. And I'm not saying it because I'm there. When other people tell me that, when other classes tell me that knew us, is that we don't know what it is. Everybody's still talking about y'all.
Wow.
You were one of our leaders in our class. So your story is amazing, because you can tell me the trials and tribulations. I can tell you the upside. I would love to combine that. You got a great story.
Right, because most people don't know the downside. That's what I was realizing recently. I was like, that's what I was.
Nobody knows the downside.
Right. When I was going back doing this work,
a strong Black woman.
Okay.
You didn't put that on us. And you know what? I love to hear it, because I just love to know, not that you went through it. I hate that you went through it, but I never knew that you went through this and still maintain who you are.
Yeah.
You still had your style. Again, who's ever here? She was the most stylish person. They spent a lot of money, just took care of her business. Came in there like Angela Davis.
Vanessa taught me how to sew. We would go to the thrift store.
Vanessa.
Man, Vanessa taught me. Vanessa was my girl. Vanessa held me up.
And let me mention this now. And gorgeous.
Oh.
I let that go. And gorgeous. See, you and her were like that. Y'all wasn't like, oh, I know I'm looking good. The stuck-up girls. The stuck-up girls were stuck-up girls. Y'all was like, really?
Yeah. Well, we both Capricorns. We were really just down to earth. We were.
I don't know what that's really, but it was something about y'all. Y'all scared half the guys.
I didn't date. I was telling somebody, I said, I didn't date in high school. That wasn't even.
They were scared of you. They were scared.
Dwayne said you had a grown ass woman's body. I was like, wow.
Yeah. But the attitude was like, they were scared. You, Vanessa, there's a couple of y'all there. It was like, but y'all was sweethearts.
Yeah.
Rita, I learned that when me and you talk. Like I said, you uplift me, and I'm like, oh, I got Rita talking to me on the phone. But you were like, again, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you, Vanessa, and a few other people.
I'm grateful that we still in touch.
Everybody can relate to that person in high school. Everybody. If anybody listens to this, they say, oh, I know that person, but it's rare. But it's only a few of them. And to be able to do this podcast shows This is that urge. This is that thing you're doing. And you do this all day because you're not only, and that's how you were. Again, I'm feeling like a secret. That's how you were in high school, curious and at the same time inquisitive. And that's a trait. And that's why I'm like, man, I need to get right now in this house right now. It's just me, my uncle's here. And it's a nice size place. I'm building a studio. Man, shoot.
Oh, you get your studio, okay?
Yeah. Well, I have some stuff in there, but I'm building a studio for my YouTube channel and a few other things. But you got a story to tell, and I'm gonna get it. And if you don't give it to me, I'm gonna make it up.
No, you can always. We'll create something. And because when my son said to me after I was telling him the story about what happened, he kept saying, well, did he fall through the bleachers too? I said, no, he was running the football.
That was a crazy day.
That was crazy. What was the date, Luther? Do you remember the actual date?
Let me tell you, I think it was October 3rd. I'm not sure.
Okay.
All I know is it was a day where, let me tell you a little bit of history about that particular team and that day in the class 76.
What was the team?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, that team, the Panthers,
I wonder who were we playing? Do you remember?
We were playing Bogan or Bowen, one of them. But anyway, so here's a little bit of history. Besides us winning that game and me and you getting hurt, the year before, I don't know if this is good to say or not as good to say. It's embarrassing. We lost every game except two. We dropped down a division. They had the division's, strength. The next year, we won every game. The first game we won to go to the winning streak, the game me and you got hurt. That's the first Now we won 3 games, and they counted, but they considered that the first regular season game. And they wrote up in the paper, this is the first time a team ever lost every game one year and won every game the next year in the regular season.
We laid up in the hospital.
Read it. That's our class. That's our people.
Oh.
That's our people.
You know that.
That's Coach Bonner. We won every game.
I love me some Coach Bonner. Woo.
Yeah, and he passed away. And you know what? Speaking of a lot of the coaches and a lot of that, your experience with people, those folks cared about that class. And a lot of them was on their last play. And they cared about us. I can't wait to write about that experience that you had with people who cared about you, teachers.
Oh man, coaches. This year for my birthday, Miss Leggett said on my page, she said, "Happy birthday, little girl." And let me tell you,
they loved us.
I said, yes, I am still that little girl. I could hear that with such love and embrace. And I was just like, yep. Because I think I was going through a healing phase.
Party with us.
Yeah.
They party with us.
Oh, they came to pick me up on it. Listen, Miss Leggett fought for me more than one time. I remember that white teacher that came to my house. She had him put out of the school. I don't remember that white. You remember that white teacher that was there? He came to my house, picked me up, took me to the zoo, had pictures of me. I came back to school. I'm talking about it. She said, excuse me, what did you just say? Girl, Luther, she had him put out of the school.
Because you were that open type of person.
Yeah.
Again, I'm embarrassed you again.
I didn't have parents. I didn't realize people would prey on me. I didn't realize that.
Exactly. But he wasn't going, you whooped his ass. Hey, look, when you see this with these little girls going through this, I'm not criticizing them because a man is a man. You wasn't that. I wish people could meet you
Back then.
I wish your kids could see you when you was 18.
Boy.
Fine, nice body, healthy. It's like, I'm gonna whoop somebody's ass. So my first thing with you, like some people accused you of being in a gang.
Yeah.
You see, you were not.
Yeah.
That's why I'm laughing about that.
Yeah.
You weren't taking no stuff, but
Yeah, people. You remember that though? Isn't that something? But I had many.
You gotta dig into that, because I would love your kids to tell some stories about you raising them. But I would love to sit down with some of your closest friends, Vanessa, who's my friend.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to hear these stories. We need to tell them from a perspective, not a third person perspective, but from a group perspective, because we had a lot of those personalities there, a few of them anyway. And that was strong. And like I said,
maybe we need to create that. We could probably create that inside of this whole thing that you're talking about with the YouTube channel there's so many things, I want to create a film. So many ideas have come forward just in this conversation. And I thought I use the Destiny card readings, and I went back and I started looking at what was going on with us at the age of 17. But that's going to be a conversation that we would have to have on another.
Yeah, another level. Man, you have to get together and write a script before we talk to other people.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? It was fun. It was fun. Like I said, when we get together as a group, we all become 17, 18 again.
Yeah.
People look at us. My nephew came to one of the DuSable picnics, and my big brother, my big sister, and you know all my other sisters, Cheryl, Claudette, and Nene. Mm-hmm. We all went to DuSable, and he saw how we became when we were there. And I would love to explore that in a book. I wrote something for the reunion, one of the reunions we had, to nail down just from talking about activity night. Right. People today are still blown away. We took that for granted.
We took that for granted. But we were going to be there, though.
Activity night.
Right. That little $2 meant something. You got $2?
Wait, Rita. We skated in the school hallway.
And that was a big building.
We skated all over the school.
Yes.
We had roller skates.
Roller skates
we played pool, we played
swimming.
We played basketball,
I mostly was in the swimming.
Volleyball. And then they cut everything off so we can party, dance. So when everybody got to college, they was like, yeah, we ready for this. Is this it?
We didn't have
everything already. But I would love to find out what other schools did what we did on activity night. Not to say we were better, because that's all we could do good. The other schools probably were smarter, but we could do that good.
Well, I've come to appreciate those.
Nobody was standing around the walls and partying.
No, we partied.
When people standing around, I'm like, are you serious? It was Soul Train at my school.
Exactly. And the thing is, too, we actually really knew each other. You know what I'm saying? We knew each other. That was and even if we didn't know individual people, people knew us, inside of that.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. I know your time is getting short. That's a good point. I knew you before I knew Dwayne, and me and him became real tight. We ran together.
Wow. Yeah. That was funny because I remember when Dwayne came to see me at the hospital, I didn't know who Dwayne was.
Oh my God.
He said, I know you don't know me. And I said, no, I don't know you. He said, but I wanted to come here and make sure that you knew that we were rooting for you to get well?
That is definitely going to be a big part of my book, you and his relationship, because y'all was so much alike.
Is that right?
People love that relationship.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny because
Y'all
it
were
was
both
short.
eccentric. Y'all both did your own thing.
He wore that beret and that long coat. Remember? He had on his beret.
But y'all were both, excuse me, weird. But cool.
Yeah.
Everybody said that's a perfect match. Everybody said that was a perfect match. As far as how y'all styles were.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how your personalities were, but y'all styles were.
No, we got along really well. I think I had so many. I remember when I talked to him a few years ago, he was like, you had so many challenges. He said, I never seen anybody go through as much as you went through. Yeah, he really was like, he couldn't help me. He couldn't help. He said, I just didn't know. He said, I just didn't know how to help you. And I didn't know how to help. I'm just not learning how to ask for help.
You weren't gonna do that.
Right, I wasn't gonna ask. Listen, I'll get it done. But this is coming to the end, Luther, and I just want to thank you for today. I will be reaching out to you, and oh my God, you've been so generous, just with your energy, your conversation, your stories. We have a lot more to explore here.
We do, and I think I'll wait to hear from you before we explore it. But I'm gonna do that book anyway, and I'm gonna have a character. Her name is gonna be
Luther. I'm gonna.
If you don't help me, I'm gonna vet you.
You have to help me write my memoirs because my daughter is insisting, and I keep telling them. And do you know that every time
I would have no problem.
Right, every time she comes over here, she's like, "Tell me a story I don't know," and she's surprised that I still have more stories. Like, oh wow, I didn't know.
You got a son. You tripping me out. And we grew up together. Your daughter was born.
Right, I had her at 25, exactly.
Rita, thank you. I am so flattered that you, that we reached out together and hung out. We kept doing that throughout the years. Every now and then we got to get together. We got to do this, got to do that. Blah, blah.
Well, I'm back in Chicago now. I had been in Vegas, but now I'm back in Chicago. And what I realized in Vegas is that my tribe is here. It's like, God, I get it. It's like, it's good to get away, but my tribe is here. I realized that.
Yeah. Excuse me, family's here, but
yeah.
So probably midsummer or whenever.
All right. Well, or we'll talk before then for sure, and definitely when I get this when I get the replay, I'm gonna post this on your Facebook page so you can have it.
That's great. Thank you so much.
All right. And I'll be looking to schedule another time with you, okay?
All right. We'll yeah, that's good. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good night. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.